So we're at the beginning of the evening, and we'll start simply with a little kirtan for the sake of invoking the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna is taking great pleasure in hearing the chanting of His holy name. And it's not because Krishna in that way is enjoying his own glorification as we would do. If someone would say, "Oh, Kadamba Kanana Swami, oh, Kadamba," then I would go, "Yes, please, a little more." Because of my own vanity, I enjoy my glorification. But when we're looking at Krishna, it's not that Krishna is attracted to the chanting of His holy name because he's enjoying so much to hear his own glories. What is attracting Krishna is love. That Krishna is saying, "Oh, they're turning to me with love." Then he becomes attracted. That is the essence. So therefore the chanting is, of course, in the current state, our love has become redistributed from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once our natural loving propensity was with the Supreme Lord, but then that same loving propensity became widely distributed everywhere. And now we love so many people, so many things, so many varieties of things. See? Okay, we love our parents to an extent. We love our spouses to an extent. We love our car to an extent. We love our money to an extent. And I can make the list much longer. And ultimately, so our loving propensity has been distributed over so many things and personalities. So therefore we are at this point not able to direct all our love towards Krishna. It's not possible. So when we're chanting, we're not able to chant with unalloyed love. Little love maybe. A little bit of love for Krishna is there, otherwise why would we come to such a program? Must be something. A little love is there, otherwise why would we chant kirtan when we're not getting paid? In the past I have been sort of a little bit in the musical world, and I used to sing and perform and get paid at the end. But nowadays I don't get paid anymore. I just sing, for free. What to do? Such is life. But I don't mind, because we're singing for a different purpose now. So something is there where we're doing all this service simply for the pleasure of Krishna. Even there it's not pure. Even there we are not completely free from personal motive, but to an extent. So this chanting is going to focus our loving propensity again on Krishna. And that is the objective. So I'll start with you. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanandana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swavatanjikam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It is said that in Srimad Bhagavatam there are 10 topics that are being discussed, and in Bhagavatam itself there is a verse which explains that Atra Sargas Visargascha Stanam Posanam Utaya Ishana Kata Manvantari Ishana Kata Stanam Nirodha Asraya Posanam. Anyway, I'll get to it. The first words are Sarga and Visarga. That there is the primary creation, everything is emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then the secondary generation, Lord Brahma. He's like the engineer who takes the various ingredients and then puts them into place into the universe. The Lord is also Sthanam, making arrangements that everything is there and maintained in its place. Posanam, he personally cares for each devotees. Uttaya, he is the origin of the generating or creative principle. So he inspires Lord Brahma. And there are so many Manus who are giving us or revealing the laws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many laws in this world, but these are the laws of state, the laws of man. But there are also the laws of the Supreme Lord. And Manu is revealing those. And then finally we get Nirodha. And in Nirodha we're seeing the winding up of entanglement. So in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a description of a young Avaduta Brahmana. And this young Avaduta Brahmana, he was seeing many lessons in this world. There was an arrow maker who was making an arrow, and it's not easy to make an arrow because an arrow has to be perfectly straight. If it's a little bit warped, it will not hit its target. So to make a good arrow is an effort. So this Brahmana this man was making a straight arrow. That day, the emperor came to the town, and there was a whole reception. So many things were going on. A parade came through the street, and the arrow maker never noticed anything, because he was completely absorbed in making his straight arrow. So in this way, by being completely absorbed in Krishna, one doesn't even notice all the influence of Maya. In this way, the young Avaduta Brahmana was learning many things. Then he saw how a spider was able to make its web, and then that the spider is again winding up its web. You can see sometimes a spider comes down on a thread from the ceiling, and then it goes back up on the ceiling. Now, if we would imitate that and come down on a rope, right, then when we would climb back up, we'd have to wrap that rope around our arm, and maybe carry a big bundle on our back. And in the end, when we'd be at top of the rope, we'd have a huge bundle of rope on our back. But the spider, no. Although the spider can come down and climb back up on the rope just disappears. The spider swallows the rope. So that's quite impressive. We could try to swallow the rope, but I don't know what that would do to us. So, anyway, this particular analogy of the spider making its web and of then winding it up is also an analogy reminding the young Avadhuta Brahmana of the Supreme Lord who manifests this world and who also winds it up again. All the universes come from his boreholes and then they go back in. In the same way, we can also look at this analogy about our own life and how we have made a web. How we became in this material world and we made many strings to many things in all kinds of directions. And all these strings have spread wide. And our consciousness has been invested in all these things. Because by nature, the living being is pleasure-seeking. Aren't we all pleasure-seeking? Who is not seeking pleasure? So by nature we are pleasure-seeking, and because we thought that so many things would bring us pleasure, our web developed, and our consciousness went into all these things. So the more things that we think will bring us pleasure, that's where our consciousness will go. Until our consciousness is divided over many things, until our consciousness has spread like a big web. So then, when we take up spiritual life, we have to start withdrawing the web. No longer investing in so many nonsense things, so many meaningless things, only in meaningful things. Now there's two ways we can deal with the web. One is we withdraw. That is the path of renunciation, the path of giving up involvement in so many things. And the other way is to connect the net to Krishna. And then it's fine. So whatever of the net we can connect to Krishna, that can stay. But everything else that we cannot connect with Krishna, that we have to wind up. So in this way, spiritual life is unfolding. And we are gradually experiencing how things change. How our interest is changing. How things that meant a lot to us now become meaningless. Of course, some things never go, like cricket. What to do? They just stay till we hold on. Some things are just remaining with us for a long time. Although they're pointless, and we can see, although they have no meaning. So little by little, we have to change our life and make it meaningful, instead of doing many meaningless things. People do crossword puzzles. Alright, what's it all about? I guess it's good for learning synonyms. You enrich your language capacity with it. But if that doesn't come back in glorifying Krishna, then what's the point of all your crossword puzzles? They're just killing time. Okay, shake my head today. So people are just wasting time, killing time. How much time are we wasting? So much time. It is said only in an advanced stage is one no longer wasting time. Avyakta kalatvam. That is the advanced stage of not killing time. Of using every moment, making every moment meaningful. So that is Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness is not just like or dedication to God is not just a matter of a decision where we decide that from this day on, I am yours. That can be a very dramatic statement, but unless we systematically are connecting every aspect of our life to the Supreme Lord, it doesn't carry real meaning. I am yours. That's just Shakespeare. That's just drama. So in this way, Krishna consciousness is an ongoing process. A process of first taking initial steps of surrender, then taking more refined steps of surrender. And for this, in order to go through this process of surrender, we need more knowledge. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam is very important in this regards. When Srila Prabhupada came to the Western world across the Atlantic on the ship, the Jaladuta, Prabhupada carried with him a trunk with Srimad Bhagavatams. And this trunk with Srimad Bhagavatams was the essence of his preaching. When Prabhupada was on the pier of the Boston Pier in New York, and he had just anchored, he wrote that poem, Markine Bhagavad Dharma. He wrote the poem about how people in America were fallen, sinful, and how he didn't see any way that he could convince these people to give up their sinful ways. He said, the only way I see is your words. And then he started quoting Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimvata Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridiyam Tasto Yavadani Vitulati Suritsatam, and more verses from Bhagavad, Evam Prasanna Manaso, and various other verses. So the point is that Bhagavatam is particularly, it is said, Tatvak Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratislokam Apadavati Api Namanian Tasya Sonkitani Srimanti Grinanti Gayanti Sadava. That this Bhagavatam is going to make a revolution in the misguided life of a misdirected civilization. So, when we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, then we read about many personalities. We read about Sukadeva Goswami, who had no interest to conform to society. He wasn't doing it. Sukadeva Goswami did not want to get educated. Sukadeva Goswami did not go shopping to get some nice clothes, because Sukadeva couldn't care less about clothes. He didn't bother with clothes. Sukadeva did not in any way conform with society. He simply spent all his time glorifying Krishna and remembering Srimad Bhagavatam. So that was Sukadeva Goswami. He remembered Bhagavatam, he spoke Bhagavatam, and in this way he became the person Bhagavatam. It is said, Sukhamukat Amritaprava Samrita Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamanayam. That which comes down from Nigamakalpatara, from the Vedic desire tree, or the desire tree of Vedic literature, that ripened fruit, which was touched by the beak of Sukha, the beak of a parrot, became very sweet. So, that is Sukadeva Goswami. Then we can look at Dhruva Maharaj, and we can see that Dhruva Maharaj, another story of Bhagavatam, is a person who approached the Lord with mixed motives. Dhruva rather wanted a kingdom greater than his father and grandfather. And he approached the Lord for that. He didn't approach him for any other reason. But when he saw the Lord face to face, he realized that his previous desires had been insignificant. And he said, I wanted broken pieces of glass, but I got diamonds. Oh, that is Dhruva Maharaj. Another interesting, so we see that in all these cases we're dealing with surrender. We're seeing Sukadev, he is surrendered to a point he just doesn't conform to the world. That is his answer, to be in a surrendered position. So I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to play the game. Finished. Okay? Everyone's playing the game. Yes, boss. Nice, boss. No, I'm not playing the game. Sukadev Goswami. Dhruva Maharaj approached the Lord with material desires, but became changed and then fully surrendered. Bali Maharaj, he was approached by Vamanadev for 3 steps of land. Vamanadev, and then Bali surrendered and said, yes, take it. Vamanadev became enormous and took everything Bali had in 2 steps. And then the 3rd step, he said, where will I put my 3rd step? Put it on my head. That wasn't good enough. He didn't want a step of head, he wanted a step of land. So then Bali Maharaj was arrested in a snake noose. And so the Acharyas explain that when Bali Maharaj surrendered at first, his surrender was external. But when he was in that snake and being strangled, but that's when Bali got further purified, and that his surrender also became internal, and that way complete. So here we're seeing again how surrender is taking place and how it's happening in stages. First external, then internal. Kunti Devi, she was so surrendered that although she was a mother, at one point she prayed, please cut these ties of family affection. Because these ties, they take away my attention from you. So, what level of Krishna consciousness he had? She also prays Vipadata Satata, Vipadasam Tuta Saswat. But she's saying, send me more and more trouble. Usually we pray for the Lord, oh Lord, please save me from all this trouble, save my auntie, save my uncle, save my grandmother, save all my family members, save everyone from trouble. Oh Lord, may no trouble fall on this home. Oh Lord, may this car, and so on. Right? And in some countries they hang lemons and chilies on the mirror, all for the sake of getting the protection of the Lord. So, what to say? Prahlad Maharaj, he didn't care about such things. But whatever happened, when Prahlad was thrown in a pit with snakes, when Prahlad was about to be pierced with metal weapons, when Prahlad was supposed to be boiled in hot oil and some other varieties, the one amazing thing about Prahlad is that he always felt protected. Prahlad felt completely protected and therefore was not in anxiety. See, I mean, not only was Prahlad praying, we would also be praying. We would be praying like anything. I mean, I would be praying a mile a minute, I tell you that. Gosh, you know. When you're in big trouble, you're praying. You know, we're praying like anything. So it's not that Prahlad is so famous because he was praying, but Prahlad is famous because he was totally free from anxiety. Because he had full faith in the Supreme Lord. He will protect me. He will fully protect me. But the Lord doesn't always protect. Sometimes people die. So how about that? Even religious people, even devotees in the past. What about that? Yeah, but Prahlad didn't care about that. Prahlad was really not attached to his body. He was completely transcendental and thinking about his soul. And he was quite sure the Lord will always protect my soul. Therefore, Prahlad was anxiety-free. If we look at Prithu Maharaj, another example of surrender in the Bhagavatam, then we're looking at one who surrendered in service. Because Prithu Maharaj, as the king, his duty was to somehow or other make sure that the earth and all the citizens on the earth were protected. And when there were no grains produced, he forced the earth to produce grains. No? Because he had to protect life. So in this way, he focused on service and showed his surrender in excelling in service. When we are looking at Lord Ramachandra, Lord Ramachandra was asked by his father upon the order of Kaikeyi, right, to go to the forest. And Dasarath, thanks a lot. It's good stuff. So Dasarath was practically dying. Dasarath couldn't even speak. Dasarath couldn't say it. It was Kaikeyi who had to say it. Kaikeyi had to say, your father, your father, long ago, I saved him in battle. When the pin of the axis, keeping the wheel on the axis, came out, and when that pin came out, I placed my finger there. And in that way your father could continue his fight, and he was successful. After that, he was greatly indebted to me. And he offered me some boons. So today, your father has granted me these boons. And one is, my dear Ram, that you will have to go to the forest. And the other is, my dear Ram, I know it is the day before your planned coronation, but it is not meant to happen, my dear Ram, because you will be in the forest and my son Bharat will be crowned king. You can go now. Thank you very much. I already put my wig, as you can see. I got into the KK mood. So, and what did Ram say? Ram said, my dear mother, stepmother, my dear mother, why did you use those 2 boons for that? If you would have simply requested me, I would have gone to the forest. And Ram was the only one who was happy. The whole palace, everybody upset. The whole city, everybody upset, and Ram was totally peaceful. So again, this shows surrender to destiny. So another aspect of surrender. How acceptance of destiny. We're fighting destiny. We're always fighting destiny. But ultimately, if one sees that the Supreme Lord is behind destiny, why fight destiny? All right, this is the plan of the Lord. It's like, no. Wait a minute, this is getting out of control. The situation is getting totally out of control. Call the control tower. Control tower. Something ought to be done. Right away. Emergency. Because it's getting out of control. No, it doesn't. It is always under Krishna's control. At any point in time. Never is there a moment that things are not under Krishna's control. So everything is fine. So therefore we see that spirit of surrender, of just accepting destiny. Interesting. We see all these different aspects of surrender. In Lord Ramachandra we see that acceptance of destiny as the mercy of the Lord. Then in the 10th canto we see Krita Punya Punja. We see the cowherd boys. And we see how these cowherd boys are playing with the Supreme Lord. What pious activities do they have? What surrender have they done? Krita Punya Punja. What surrender have they done in the past that now they are playing with the Lord? So again, they have accumulated surrender over time. So, see, just by looking at the Bhagavatam, we can, at the various personalities in the Bhagavatam and the pastimes in the Bhagavatam, we get different angles on surrender. And all these different angles on surrender are actually relevant for us. So by reading the Bhagavatam, we actually can appreciate how we have to cultivate our spiritual life and what it means. How we have to get ourselves disentangled in this web that we have created. And we see in all these personalities how eventually we can come to pure devotional service. So this evening was originally dedicated to Srimad Bhagavatam because last time when I was here, I said if someone purchases a set of Bhagavatam, I'll come to their house and do a program and personally install it. Now, since then, a few people took the Bhagavatam, so there's some few home programs going, and if any of you takes a Bhagavatam today, then I owe you a program as well, and I owe you. I don't know exactly when I can do so, but Bhagavatams definitely are in stock. There is no difficulty whatsoever. So you can think about it. Dirt cheap, for what you get, and absolutely a valuable investment. And Srila Prabhupada also said that he would like to see Bhagavatam in every house on the planet. So do you have a house? Do you have a mouse? And usually these two go together. When you have a house, you're also going to have a mouse. And what else? Maybe a cat. To do with a mouse. Tom and Jerry. The whole scene. So, whatever may be. So all this is also there. The Bhagavatam then is transforming our house into a spiritual abode. It transforms it. So therefore, we do these programs where we install the Bhagavatam in someone's house, and from that moment it is becoming like the spiritual world. So it's powerful and potent. Of course, it's meant that we read it and that we are, through connecting with all these personalities, like now I have shortly listed something about the surrender of these various personalities, because we could go into a lot more detail. For example, when we go to Dhruva Maharaj, we can look at Dhruva Maharaj growing up, and then we can see how his stepmother, first his stepmother has died in a forest fire. She got a reaction for it. And his brother has been killed by the Yakshas. He also got a reaction. Then we see that Dhruva is killing all the Yakshas in revenge. Now, a little bit of action should have been shown, because if a royal house is attacked, they have to show that they retaliate. But then, how far to take that? And Dhruva took it a bit far, started killing these Yakshas left and right, and it took Swayambhu Vamanu and Kuvira to calm him down. They were elders and aloof. And one point is that maybe Dhruva was angry. I've heard it say that maybe Dhruva had an anger issue. He's angry in his youth and also later, an anger issue, possibly. So that would be another thing coming out, an anger issue. It's more common than you think. Anger issues. Yes. And the nicest people, the friendliest, the calmest people, turn into tyrants at home. Otherwise, they're sweet as anything. So anger issues. Yes, not everyone gets married out of love. Some get married because they need a doormat. Oh yes. Anyway, there are many lessons to draw from the Bhagavatam, as you can see. But Dhruva was firing so many arrows at so many Yakshas and killing them. And why was it so? Was it only that he was angry, or was there another reason? There was guilt. Because Dhruva Maharaj felt guilty that his brother was killed on his account. Because the Lord had actually told him, your brother will also die. Yeah? He will also die. So, see, when Dhruva wanted to get on the lap of his father, then his stepmother was saying like, oh no, you can't sit on that lap. And then Uttam, his stepbrother, was pushing him down at the same time. No, you can't sit. So it was a combination of the two. So Dhruva was extremely angry with both of them. And then later, the Lord, and he had some revengeful feelings, and the Lord fulfilled them, and they both died. And now Dhruva felt guilty. I approached the Lord with my material desires, and now see what came of this. So that's why he had to kill a few extra yakshas. Get rid of guilt. Another reason. So we also see obstacles appearing, obstacles to surrender, and how these obstacles need to be overcome. Now in the end, Dhruva is going back to Godhead. There's a plane coming, a Vaikuntha plane, and death appears, and death offers obeisances, and Dhruva steps on the head of death into the plane. Then the next thing that happens is that as the plane goes up, Dhruva thinks, what about my mother? I owe everything to my mother as a good son. No, not only that, but she was the one who gave him the instructions to go look for the Lord in the forest. Therefore, he felt, I really owe this to my mother, this spiritual realization. So, then he was thinking, is my mother also going back? And sure enough, he saw his mother in a plane, and she was also going up to Vaikuntha. Then there's a purport. And this purport is a classic. Because here Srila Prabhupada says, just as Saruchi, the mother of Dhruva, was the instructor, and so she was the teacher, and Dhruva was the student. Still, it was the student who delivered the teacher, or the disciple who delivered the guru. So Prabhupada said, in the same way, I'm praying that one of my disciples may become a pure devotee and deliver me. That's a classic purport where Prabhupada takes a very humble position. So this Bhagavatam is quite amazing. We do not just have the pastimes of great personalities and how they surrender to the Supreme Lord, but we also have the purports of Srila Prabhupada. Now, Srila Prabhupada told Tamal Krishna Maharaj something interesting. He said, actually, the purports are more important than the verses. So, hello. Hello. The purports are Vedic, the verses are Vedic literature, and the purports are explanations. So isn't the Vedic literature more important than the explanations? What would you say? Well, makes sense, doesn't it? The Vedic literature. Are you criticizing the Vedic literature? Are you finding fault in the Vedic literature? Are you saying that the Vedic literature is not perfect? Are you saying that? Are you saying it? You're not saying it. Very good. We better not say it. Because the Vedic literature is apurusaya. It is not produced by men. It is directly coming from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can Prabhupada say that the purports are more important than the verses? What do you think of that? Easy, guys. Because without these purports, we wouldn't make head or tail of these verses. We would miss 90%. We would read right over it and miss the whole deeper purport, the whole deeper meaning of it. It is these purports that actually unlock these verses and that give us the deeper insights. Therefore, the purports are more important than the verses, because verses alone cannot understand. So in this way, this Bhagavatam brings us also Srila Prabhupada's purports. And these purports, of course, are not only his purports, but these purports are very faithful, following the commentaries of the Acharyas, incorporating that, and then adding his own insights as well. Yes, so today, besides installing Srimad Bhagavatam, we also, here in this home, it is the first day that the deity of Srila Prabhupada is coming in, and he's on the altar, and he's also coming into this house. Yes. And so there is a lot of concentrated spiritual energy coming in, because Prabhupada is no different from his deity. He is present in his deity. So in that way, Prabhupada is manifesting himself in his deity. Therefore one must then also take care of him to the best of our ability. When Prabhupada was in his final days in Vrindavan, Bhakti Charu Maharaj was one of the servants at the time, and Prabhupada rang the bell and he asked for some orange juice because he needed vitamin C. So Bhakti Charu Maharaj said, yes, I'll just arrange it. And then 5 or whatever minutes later, the bell rang again, but it was a bell. Prabhupada was moving it by hand. So this time it rang very loud and serious and fast. So when Bhakti Sri Maharaj came, Prabhupada was angry. He said, "Where's the orange juice? You said you would bring orange juice. Where is it?" And he said, "Well, I'm just now." Prabhupada said, "Forget it. I don't want it anymore. I don't want it anymore. I wanted it right away. I'm not going to wait for it. I don't want it anymore." So, what to do now? Bhakti Charu Maharaj went back and made the orange juice anyway and brought it to Prabhupada. He took some time because he had to get some oranges. He brought this orange juice in, and Prabhupada said, I told you I didn't want it. I told you I didn't want it. Take it away." And then Bhakti Charu Maharaj said, "You can chastise me as much as you like, He said, "But please take this orange juice. It's good for you." And then Prabhupada said, "All right." And he drank the orange juice. So it's such an amazing story because it shows how first the Guru had conquered the disciple to a point that the disciple is ready to do anything, is ready to take any chastisement, doesn't care anymore. And it shows here that surrender is not just a matter of, I've understood the philosophy, I've read the books, but it shows that surrender is a matter of like, my heart has been captured now. And in this way, we see how Prabhupada just captured his heart. And then he took Prabhupada's chastisement. Although he didn't have any oranges, so he had to get them. It took somewhat longer. But Prabhupada wanted it straight away and needed it somehow or other. And it had to be there, and it wasn't. So Prabhupada was upset. So then in the second part of the story, we see how Bhakti Charu Maharaj is purchasing Prabhupada. First Prabhupada had purchased Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and now he was purchasing Prabhupada. Chastise me as much as you want, but please take this, it's good for you. So that is the surrender. That is ultimately what has to come into the picture. That it's not just all based on philosophy, but it's based on love. It is that at first one serves the spiritual master out of duty. I'm serving him because I know that one has to serve the spiritual master. It says in scripture, that's why I'm serving him. Later one will actually become indebted and one will serve the spiritual master as a friend. One will see him as a friend and a well-wisher. And eventually one will serve him out of love. And it has to come like that. That is where we are becoming fully surrendered. Because only when there's love in the picture can we completely surrender. If you don't love something, then you have to do it, but you hate it. It doesn't quite cut it. It's sort of like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. No, with love. In this way, one has to learn to take the order of the spiritual master, not just faithfully out of duty, not just seeing him, yes, he's my well-wisher, but actually take that order and say, this is the most wonderful thing. This is the most wonderful vision of my spiritual master. That is surrender. Anyway, in this way, I've tried to sort of, on this occasion, speak some words in the glorification of the Bhagavatam, or some words of glorification about the book Bhagavat, some glorification about the person Bhagavat, and that through the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat, we can actually attain perfection. So, any questions?
If anyone wants a Bhagavatam set, you must see Chandrasekhar Prabhu to get the set and see me to organize the house program.
There you go. Everyone knows Chandrasekhar. In case somebody doesn't know, maybe he'll stand up for one moment to do a full circle so everyone can.
Chandrasekhar, the devotee is on this side as well.
There you go, Chandrasekhar. Then don't wave at them, come on, go there all the way. They can't recognize you from so far. That's it.
Hare.
Four Bhagavatams, in case you didn't know. Because yes, it would be wonderful. I mean, how exciting if someone would raise his hand right now and say, I'll take a Bhagavatam. Well, that would be something. Oh, I would shower my blessings on that person. And then someone raises a hand. Any question?
No, I'll take a Bhagavatam.
You'll take a Bhagavatam. What is your name? Anasuya. My dear Lord Krishna, my dear Srila Prabhupada, here is Anasuya, and she is an eligible candidate for receiving the Bhagavatam. She is worthy of her name because it says Nirmat Saranam Satam, that the Bhagavatam is meant for people who are non-envious. And the name Anasuya also means non-envious. So devotees are non-envious. And the opposite of that is generous, always ready to give, and ready to take the opportunity. So I thank you so much. And may Prabhupada bestow his blessings upon you. I'll personally ask him. May Krishna bestow his blessings upon you and your whole family as well. And thank you very much for coming forward. Yeah, that's far out. That's one Bhagavatam. So, home program. Can do lots of home programs. And of course, if someone else takes a Bhagavatam set, then that will also be really wonderful.
I'll take half.
You gotta find another half then. Maybe.
Yeah, part two.
Huh?
42.
What's he taking? 42?
Part two. I got from first canto to ninth canto.
He has to take half the Bhagavatam and the CC. And then we can do a house program.
Okay. We'll work it out.
How is come surrender?
You have to speak loud.
How is come surrender?
How
is come surrender?
How can we become surrendered? Mahajana yena gata sapantu. We must follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. So these Mahajans are they are undergoing tapas for Krishna. They make sacrifice. It's not that their spiritual life is easy, but they give the example. So then we follow in their footsteps. We follow the same example. So by reading Bhagavatam, Let us be tolerant as Prahlad, and let us realize we're always protected by the Lord. And stop being fearful. Let us remember Prahlad and become Abhayam, fearless. Let us remember Dhruva and see that our material desires are so unimportant. We get Krishna. Why go for broken pieces of glass? Let's go for Krishna. Let us look at Sukadeva Goswami. Let us not bother so much with the world. Let us just bother with Krishna. Let us look at Kunti Devi and let us just see how she's free from family attachment. Let us look at Kunti Devi, and she's just so eager to remember Krishna. Let us look at all these personalities of the Bhagavatam. Let us look at Prithu Maharaj, always absorbed in his duty and service. That is also. So let us take the example in our own life. Let we be always absorbed in duty and service. So, I found the example of all these. Lord Ramachandra seeing the destiny, accepting destiny. Let us accept destiny in this way. In this way we become surrendered, following the footsteps of the great Vaishnavas. Yeah.
What's the difference between placing a set of Bhagavatam in your home and installing a set of Bhagavatam?
Placing a set of Bhagavatam in your home is perfect. I mean, the Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Krishna. So you're bringing Krishna into your home. So that part's okay. We just do a little ceremony just as a reminder. Just like when someone gets married, they can just basically sign a piece of paper. You can go into some office and sign a piece of paper. In fact, that's how I first did it. Okay? When I married, long ago, once upon a time, I got married and we had no money, so we went to the government, and the cheapest arrangement was 2 couples at the same time. So we did that one, saving money, And we did that one, and but the officer of the government was too much, because he was going like, tonight is the night, and soon you can kiss the bride. Please let this be over. Anyway, that's how I got married. But after I did Yakya, so that was a little more elaborate. So why is there so much pomp? To make it a memorable occasion. So today we install as an extra blessing to remind the people in the house from this Bhagavatam is not just a casual thing that came into your house, it's something extremely special, and now you have it, this great treasure. Now may you take full advantage of it and read it every day for the rest of your life. So yeah, that's why I come to install it. Let me install it with a little arti and the talk. That's it. So now we'll do that. We'll continue with the arti then. I will do the arti. Someone can sing a little kirtan while we're doing that arti, and then whoever, you guys can fight it out. Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.